When the Elias Bengtson family emigrated from Göteborg, Sweden in 1868 to build a new life in Ben Wade, Polk County, Minnesota, relatives sent them on their way with handshakes, farewells, and tears. Please remember to greet Mons and his family. They live in New York. And you'll see Per, he lives in Tennessee. Give him this letter and greet him from the folks back home. Jan lives in Florida. He will be so happy to see friends from back home. Carl lives in Chicago. Give him this little gift and greet him from the folks back home. They had greetings and gifts and letters for relatives and friends in almost every state of the Union, not realizing the magnitude of America. The wide of the expanse of the country would in fact prove to be a particular challenge in trying to unite the Union and in settling the Central Plains. The settlers need an efficient way to get supplies and to send their crops to market. Well, it would be the railroad transportation system that connected the country from coast to coast and speeded up the settling of the Central Plains to such an extent that earlier generations could not have even imagined it. In fact, this year marks the 150th anniversary of the completion of the first transcontinental railroad, an idea that was spurred in 1830 and the project was completed in 1869. As America expanded, so did the ribbons of iron that crisscrossed this vast landscape, sparking the imagination of music makers. Railroad work songs, ballads depicting riveting exploits, and musical echoes of that all-familiar steam locomotive. Well, they all made their way into this country's music history. Here's an example. Old 97 is a ballad about a mail train that gets off schedule and comes to an unfortunate end.
Well, they gave him his orders in Monroe, Virginia, saying, Steve, you're way behind time. This is not 38, it's old 97. You must get her into Danville on time. Oh, he turned and he said to his black greasy fireman, just shovel in a little more coal. And when we reach that white old mountain, you may watch old 97 roll. Well, it's a mighty rough road from Lynchburg to Danville. It's a line on a 3-mile grade. It was on that grade he lost his air brakes. Oh, what a jump he made. 'Cause he was going down the grade, making 9 miles an hour when his whistle broke into a scream. They found him in the wreck, his hand on the throttle. He was scalded to death by steam. Then that telegram come to Washington City, and this is how it read. That brave engineer that run old 97, he's a laying in old Danville dead. 'Cause he was going down that grade, making 9 miles an hour when his whistle broke into a scream. They found him in the wreck, his hand on the throttle. He was scalded to death by steam. Now all you young women, please take warning from this time on and learn. Never speak harsh words to your true love and husband. He may leave you and never return. He may leave you and never return. He may leave you and never return. Poor old Steve.
You can't actually see it until you're directly upon it. Like most, ours was built of the sod itself. A door and a single window are set into the hillside. You might not even see it, except for the reflection of the sunlight on the 4 small panes of window glass. Or you might see a cow grazing on our roof and discount it altogether as just part of the pasture. There is no touch of grace or gleam of beauty about our dugout. A house dug into the earth of the snowbound wilderness of Minnesota is a bitterly lonely place to live, especially after the cozy villages of our homeland. But this is what pioneering is all about. There were no trees where we settled, so we dug our house into the hill. Our neighbors built their house out of bricks made of sod and called it a soddy. Our homes will have to wait until we can afford to buy and transport the lumber to our site. But it will be soon, because living in a dugout is not easy. It is so cramped that we have to take our bedding outside during the day just so we have room to turn around. And in the winter, when it snows for days on end and we can't even get out, it is just so bad. Imagine such close quarters with a couple of smelly brothers. Home invasions were prevalent. A big snake might poke its head through the ceiling and hang there, just blinking at you before slinking away down the mud wall. Or worse yet, drop down unexpectedly on the dining table during a meal. Or slither in bed with you at night. I never know when a big spider or bugs or bugs or beetles might join the contents of my cooking pots. But I find the best way to protect my culinary efforts from uninvited slithering and crawling creatures is this. Under the Homestead Act, you were required to erect a dwelling in order to qualify for the land. The act states that the dwelling is to be 12 by 14. The legislators, however, failed to specify that requirement in feet. Some unscrupulous land developers built tiny 12 by 14-inch structures. I yearn for the day when we can begin building our home. It will be a festive occasion, as most house and barn raisings are. It is one time where the neighbors come together and help each other out. Almost as important as the builders themselves is the fiddler, to fiddle up the cabin. At the end of a day, whether I'm reminiscing of my homeland or dreaming of what our new home will be, there's nothing more soothing than the sound of a fiddle. Listen now to Wesphalia Waltz.